Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, January 8th, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the has been like here recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future though in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that we have that ridge of high pressure across the northeastern section of North Atlantic. That's responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can also see that we have a cold front that stretches all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Gulf of Mexico. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the low level clouds being pushed from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean, blowing all of those low level clouds associated with some troughs that are packing some amount of isolated showers that are affecting sections of the Windward Islands as we speak. We can also see the clouds associated with that cold front, stretching all the way from northern sections of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the Bahamas, Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, and we can also see another storm system associated with a cold front that's definitely affecting sections of the central United States as we speak, and it's definitely going to be bringing a lot of bad weather to the eastern United States as the week progresses. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on what took place across Jamaica today. So, you may have noticed that most of the times when we here at Weather Jamaica don't post on our YouTube page, it's usually some sunny times that are ahead, not much in the way of rainfall at all. The dry season has definitely been dry seasoning, as we can see. This from the halfway tree live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. This is about 12:05 p.m. today, and we saw that for the most part it was a sunny to partly cloudy day. It was even windy at times, as we had that wind from the north, from the east, very fresh, strong easterly winds across the area. And we can see on the visible satellite images that we didn't have much in the way of cloud cover or rainfall across the island today. Mostly a partly cloudy day with all of the clouds building up across inland areas of some central and western parishes. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we don't have anything to see, nothing much, no rainfall, no cloud cover at all. Maybe some partly cloudy skies if the moon is out to affect sections of Portland as we speak. And if we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 3 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 21 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we see more in the way of grays and yellows that represent average to slightly above normal temperatures, so up to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And this is valid for 1 p.m. on Tuesday from the GFS. I know the normal temperatures for the month of January are about the same as 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. When I take a look at the thermometer, that's about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that the dry air is represented by what we see at the key on the bottom, the yellows, oranges, reds, and whites within those reds. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in a lot of orange colors that represent a lot of dry air. However, as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we can see all the Saharan dust across portions of the eastern to central main development region, and Africa is represented by those brown colors. Jamaica is right here, and it should be in the clear for that time. As relates to the wave forecast, we're starting to see some more purples starting to take shape across the waters to the south and east of the island on both the Euro and the GFS. And we know the purples, as we can see by the key on the bottom, represent up to 2 meter wave heights. And we can also see those darker shades of blues that represent 1.5 to 2 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east southeast, and we see those greens and we do see those yellows as well that represent up to 25 knot winds, maybe even gusting up to 30 knots. So definitely some bright green colors that represent 20 to 25 knot winds. That's what's being expected from the east southeast across Jamaica for tomorrow, according to the Euro and the GFS. And with those winds coming off of the sea from the east, there's definitely a chance for some amount of rainfall. Taking a look at the precipitation forecast from both the Euro and the GFS models, the Euro right here, the GFS right here, we can see the consensus. We're looking for what both maps are showing, and we do see the blues that represent rainfall across eastern Jamaica. You know, eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Thomas. But it seems to be more so Portland and St. Thomas at that time, as we see the blues confined to those areas. And look at the time. This is 12 p.m. midday on Tuesday. And if we skip ahead to about 3 p.m., we still see much of the same. Some slight blue colors that represent rainfall across eastern Jamaica on the Euro, a bit more widespread and robust on the GFS. Either way, you know that when both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus like this, the chances of particular happening are much higher, and it makes sense that the accumulated precipitation forecast across Jamaica for the next 24 hours by the Euro and the GFS are showing that the most rainfall should be across eastern Jamaica, up to 0.09 of an inch of rainfall on the GFS. Euro showing up to 0.21 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're in January. We usually receive up to 97.75 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get, as little as it may be, to put some kind of a dent in the hydrological drought that we usually experience during the dry season peak, which is around February. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we do see the clouds associated with that cold front still bringing some amount of overcast skies and showers to sections of the Bahamas, Florida, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, Honduras, moving eastward, the ABC Islands getting in on the action, some isolated passing shores from the east, not to mention sections of the Windward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Barbados, sections of St. Lucia, Martinique, and maybe even sections of Dominica as the night progresses, even sections of Guadeloupe. We can also see some rainfall that Puerto Rico even got in on, and we can also see some rainfall heading into sections of French Guiana and Suriname. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean for today, not much in the way of rainfall except for that green that represents rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico that they had. But we can see that majority of the rainfall is confined to the Windward Islands, the areas in and around Barbados. Definitely getting in on some amount of isolated shores across Barbados right now, with more to come. You can also see that rainfall that's heading into sections of Martinique, sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, just like what we saw in the satellite images just now. Trinidad and Tobago, especially Tobago, getting in on the action as we speak. Grenada. However, as it relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we don't see much happening right now across southern Florida, the Bahamas, or the western tip of Cuba, but we do see that isolated shore activity right there across sections of the ABC Islands, not to mention sections of French Guiana heading into sections of Suriname. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we do see the average to above normal temperatures being expected on the GFS for 1 p.m. on Tuesday for the entire Caribbean region, even into sections of the Gulf of Mexico and Central America. And we can also see the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday shows that majority of the Western Hemisphere should be in the clear, as all the dust associated with the Sahara Desert should be across portions of the main development region and Africa, as indicated by those lighter shades of browns. As well as the wave forecast across the basin, we do see those purples, even up to burgundy colors that represent up to 2 meter wave heights, even close to 3 or 4 meter wave heights. We see all of that across sections of the Gulf of Mexico, of the southeast coast of the United States, sections of the Caribbean, and we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. Even although we have a lot of blues that represent 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, we do see a lot of purples, and that's because the winds are going to be strong. Look at the Caribbean winds should be coming in from the east. Wherever we see the greens, we know the greens represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots. The yellows represent up to 25 knots. The burgundy colors up to 30 knots or more. We see a lot of strong winds being expected across sections of the Gulf of Mexico, sections of the waters in and around Florida, the Bahamas, coming in from the south across those areas. And we do see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. However, as it relates to the rainfall forecast, we do see the majority of the rainfall is confined to the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, sections of western Florida. We do see some isolated showers in store for sections of the Bahamas, as represented by those green colors. We can also see some isolated showers in store for sections of the eastern Dominican Republic, eastern and northeastern Puerto Rico, not to mention those areas that we just mentioned seeing the rainfall in the satellite images. So if they're not already getting the rainfall right now, they're definitely going to be getting it on some more across sections of Martinique, sections of Dominica, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. And we see even more rainfall, as we can see by the reds in store for sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and even eastern Honduras. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS models are showing something similar like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.